Hello and welcome to the year we started a podcast born phoenix-like from the ashes of 2020. I am your co-host, Jeff.
And I'm your other co-host, Nick.
And this is our podcast. We're a couple friends, half a continent apart, that would like to come together and talk about some things that are fun and interesting to us. Speaking of fun and interesting, Nick, did you know that I have some weird quirks about myself? I mean, you've met my wife, so I imagine that you've probably heard this before.
Well, I've heard that your wife thinks you have a lot of weird quirks, and I have heard through the grapevine, through many rumors, that you are kind of weird, yeah.
Okay, so we'll just rip the Band-Aid off. So this is a thing that has been an ongoing... Man, what's the right way to say this? This has been an ongoing disturbance in my personal relationship with my wife, and honestly with most people that know this about myself. So I guess we'll just put it out in the open. I just want to hear what you think about it. So Nick,
real quick, I just want to let you know I'm disturbed. I am currently not feeling comfortable with where this is going already. The energy is bad when you say everything like that, but keep going. Please keep going.
Well, yeah, so I've hyped it up. But to be honest, I'm not super worried about how much I've hyped this up because it is a little messed up.
Okay, good.
According to those around me. I think it's perfectly fine.
Okay.
And also, I'm looking at my levels, and I'm just going to scoot back from my microphone. Anyways, so Nick, I eat cereal with water.
Okay, you're weird. Jeff, I respected you before today.
Here's the thing.
But why, though?
I mean, it's good. Like, okay, benefits. Less calories, for
Fair.
one.
Fair.
And doesn't really change the taste. I like, okay, so according to my wife, that's gross, and it does change the taste, which I suppose it's like 4% different, but I don't care that much about how, like,
so I was gonna say I don't particularly care for milk. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I assume that you're the same way, that you just don't really care for milk, and so you don't mind it being gone.
Snap,
right?
Nick, you might be a potential convert. Okay.
Oh,
Nick,
no.
Do you have cereal?
No.
Do you have cereal in your household?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I have really good cereal. Are you gonna have me waste a bowl of this really good cereal?
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, Nick, you don't have to waste a bowl of cereal to test it out.
The only way to do this justice is to do it
man.
all the way.
You know what? Normally I would say we need to do this and then report back. But Nick, are you willing to go take a tiny bit of your good cereal and put a little bit of water on it, stir it around, and take a bite?
Oh my god, I am.
Okay, go do it.
We're doing editing now.
Go do it. Oh yeah, I'll edit it out.
All right, I'll be right back.
Okay, while he's gone, I need everybody who's listening to do the same thing. Go ahead and pause the episode. Go get some cereal in your house, put it in a bowl, put a little water on it, stir it around with a spoon, have an open mind, take a bite. I promise it's a little weird, but they're saving calories, saving time, saving cows. I promise it's not that bad. Just try it. Okay, so Nick.
So that was weird. That was weird.
Did you already eat it?
I did.
You're supposed to eat it on the freaking podcast.
No.
Jerk.
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
Okay. Give me your review.
Okay. Cold and weird.
Cold and weird.
Cold and weird. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't like gross, but it was just like a little bit off. Like the texture of it is a little bit off without milk, and it was like it took away a lot of the flavor. I had it's a cinnamon cereal that I tried, and like it's usually got a decent little flavor going to it, and it was kind of like a watered down, like you'd expect, but it's just missing something.
Is it as despicable as my wife claims that she feels like it is? She's unwilling to try it at all.
Well, my wife looked at me with a dirty look while I was eating it, and
gosh.
Oh my god.
Okay. Well, anyways, I often eat cereal with water. I'm sorry that has probably alienated.
Am I wrong in that the texture is different? Like it's literally like it's like I don't know. The texture is the biggest problem for me.
Okay, so here's the thing. You're wrong about the texture, but you are
Right.
correct in the sense that it is watered down, and by definition, it is watered down.
I'm aware. Yeah.
Although I don't understand how that's any different than milking it down, but we don't typically use that as a phrase. So
That's not a phrase I want to use again. No.
yeah. All right, I thought it'd be fun to go through a few other things. Nick, so toilet paper over or under?
Over.
Okay, thank gosh.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is like you're gonna alienate Jen. You're just gonna lose Jen in 2 minutes of this. To the first two things you say.
You know what's funny? So before I met my wife, I didn't really have an opinion. I didn't know it was a thing to have an opinion about. However, she and her family have very strong opinions on this, which got me to also have strong opinions on that, which I feel like is a commentary on how opinions get formed.
It actually doesn't affect our life at all. It's just that once somebody points it out to you, you're like, hey, yeah,
I super care about that thing. But no, once we had kids, though, and I don't know if this is on purpose, I haven't talked to my wife about this, there have been the occasional occurrences, especially in the kids' bathroom, where the toilet paper is upside down. And I don't know if that is to prevent the kids from turning our toilet paper into a toilet paper sand pit made out of toilet paper. I don't know what the right... a toilet paper
toilet
pit.
paper sand pit made out of toilet paper.
Yeah.
That is concise. I like it.
Because they certainly can. Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
So I'm not as grossed out by it as other people, but I don't particularly care for pineapple. It's kind of like a take it or leave it thing. So I'm probably the boring person on this, and that I don't think it's gross, but I also just don't really care.
I think it's okay. I think it's pretty good. I kind of like it.
Allow me to go a little bit weird in terms of pizza toppings. Have you ever had pizza with Thai sauce or peanut sauce?
What the frick? No.
Yeah, dude.
I have not.
Okay.
What? Where can I get this?
Z Pizza, I think still, and then some weird little pizza place in my hometown.
Well, that will be super helpful for me here in Kansas.
You're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
It's super good. It's super good. I don't love the Z Pizza one with peanut sauce and stuff, and but Thai sauce instead of red sauce. So super good. Underrated.
Okay, so I found a spicy Thai chicken pizza with peanut sauce, but it is just a recipe and not an actual place that makes it, and I can't possibly imagine I will do it justice whatsoever.
That's fair.
Well, I guess I'll add that onto the things that I want to do post-pandemic when I can go find
you can
stuff
go move around
like
yeah.
Thai pizza.
I just figured if you're gonna go out on all your weird stuff, I'll let you know about mine. I haven't had it in a long time, but I used to I TA'd a photo class with a couple other people, and one of the people worked at the pizza shop right outside of my high school, and he would just bring in these Thai pizzas, and I'm telling you, I was like addicted. It was a problem. I probably had more pizza in that like last year than I did at any other point in my entire life put together, and it was just all Thai pizza. It was so good.
So
good.
Where does that rank on your pizza hierarchy? Like what's number one for you?
So
where's that rank?
I've been lucky enough to both spend a summer in New York City and then also visit Italy, and both places had better pizza than that.
I had no idea you've been to Italy, or at least I've erased that from my memory, replaced it with something else.
Yeah, we went on a short trip to
Nice.
Italy and then Spain and stuff. It was super cool. It was like Rome, Spain, France, and we did one night in Monte Carlo, super long ago. But it's the only time I've been out of the country. But the pizza in Italy is obviously very different. It's like you have it and you're like, oh, okay, we're doing the fast food version of this. Got it. This is like quality cuisine, and it's fantastic. It's genuinely really good.
So two things. One, I've been to Chicago, and Chicago deep dish pizza is like, I don't even know that it qualifies as pizza there. Like they've turned pizza into some weird, very, very greasy abomination that is delicious, I'll say. But
it's a cultural statement. It's not actually about the food anymore.
It is unrecognizable as pizza. But
it's like, hey, we don't do no pizza. I shouldn't do. We've already discussed. I shouldn't do accents on this. But
back away.
But they're basically saying, no, we don't do pizza like everybody else. This is our pizza.
Yeah,
you like it or you get out.
Very specific. But no, so Katie and I had our honeymoon in DC, and we both really enjoy history stuff, so that was a lot of fun. Plus, as a couple broke early 20-year-olds, there's nothing better than going to DC and having basically everything except for food be free. And we went to a few fancy restaurants and whatever, but our favorite place that we ate at while we were there was a pizza place like a block and a half from our hotel. I don't know, they didn't advertise it as a particular special type of pizza. It was just a pizza place. But if you're in the middle of DC, close to the White House and such, like if you're an in-business restaurant, you probably have pretty good food. And that was some dang good pizza. But
yeah, for sure. I could see that.
So GIF or GIF?
I think I say GIF. I feel like it's wrong though. I don't have strong feelings on this. I know that the internet has strong feelings about this.
I think I land on the other side. I think I say GIF too. Is that what you said? GIF?
Yeah, I said GIF, but now I'm like saying them in my head and both sound right. Maybe I'm one of the worst. I just don't have a stance.
I think my stance is I don't care at all.
Yeah,
yeah. Okay, so what does the H stand for in
humble?
IMHO.
Humble. The answer is humble.
So I didn't realize that we had this fence between us, Nick, but that...
You think it's honest.
It's honest, for sure.
Honestly, you're wrong.
Okay, Nick, do you... Yep, good job, Reddit. You found something that I actually do care about. This wasn't even on the thing I said. So like on the Pop, Coke, what's the other... Soda, what do you say?
Soda, but I know why, but go ahead.
Like, because that's like completely regional, I assume.
Yeah, exactly. He's exactly right.
Yeah.
When I moved to Massachusetts as a kid, I said soda, and it got like a laugh out of like everybody. And then I say that those guys are weird over there where I lived, at least. Maybe not everybody in Massachusetts. I'm not crapping on Massachusetts. I liked a lot of things about it there. But those guys said bubbler instead of water fountain, and that doesn't even make sense to me. There's not even bubbles in that thing. It's just a weird.
That's like that's like from another country.
Yeah, I moved over when I was relatively young, like sixth grade, I think. And we did a hangman thing one time, and we had a hangman word for the word bubbler, and like there was the word bubble with like an extra thing, and I was like, I don't know why, and everyone got mad at me. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Well, if it's any consolation to young Nick, I would literally have no clue.
Exactly right. Like, Q? No.
So, Nick, a thing that we were talking about right before, and I just tossed it in the show notes. So I put bubbly water, which is funny because it's talking about bubblers. Is that bubblers?
Bubblers, yeah.
I've been interested in these sparkling water drinks for a while because, as a fan of water and cereal, I'm always appreciative of the no calories. But two, I do find them pretty dang good. And so a while back we had like a phase where we went through some root beer and Dr. Pepper seltzer waters from Kroger, which we call Dillon's here in Wichita. But after that, then we moved on to, what's it called? Waterloo. And they had some like black cherry and a couple other flavors.
Can I give you my secret like favorite one for all these, which is like a weird flavor because I don't like this flavor in any other context?
Yeah.
Is coconut. And Waterloo coconut is fantastic. Fantastic.
Wait, Waterloo has a coconut flavor?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm saying.
2 episodes in a row where I have to freaking Google something and buy it in the middle of our stupid podcast. Is Waterloo on Amazon?
It is, yeah.
Coconut. Waterloo. Yep.
Yep.
Oh!
What? Let me in.
I'm so sorry. This is probably one of my favorite.
Wait, what?
I'm so sorry. Oh,
I feel like I'm about to get
my wife.
blindsided here.
No, my wife knows why I'm laughing. Oh man! So in our eternal search for our favorite sparkling water, I have bought coconut Waterloo before, Nick.
Oh, there you go. And you didn't like it?
Nope, I did like it. It was pretty good. One problem, it was $4, which I thought was going to be like a pack of a few, 8. It literally shipped in a box, bubble wrapped a single can of Waterloo.
Oh my god.
My wife walked in after unwrapping the thing and bringing it in. Like, what did you buy? So I have had one
A singular. One singular.
Oh man. Which, in all fairness, in their defense, the picture had just a single can of coconut Waterloo.
Can I tell you why that's funny now? I literally clicked on the Waterloo coconut thing on Amazon to make sure that it was on Amazon, and it's $6 for a 12-pack here. So
Wait, what?
You got a little ripped off.
Even right now, it's $14.50 for a 12-pack for me. What the frick? You said it's how much for a 12-pack?
$6, $5.99.
Six for, oh my gosh.
Yeah, get wrecked. Get wrecked.
Well, screw you and your housing prices. Mine are great.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Let me check and see how long it would take me. How many Waterloo boxes it would take me to catch up on that. Oh my god.
Oh gosh, that is hilarious. Well, it was very good. However, at the cost of $4 a can was a little bit out of my price comfort zone. But
yeah, I would not be a fan of that. Especially if you expand that to getting a 12-pack. Well, can I get a $50 12-pack or like?
Yeah. But it's free shipping. So Nick, one of the things I wanted to talk about. So recently. Two things. One, SpaceX had their, I don't even remember the name of the rocket, their test yesterday that they called off, and then they did today, and it blew up very spectacularly.
Yeah.
And my son is all about watching rocket launches now because a while back there was an option from, I think, well, it would have been from NASA, where you could get your name registered on the Mars 2020 rover that's going to be landing, I think, in February. And so I did that and you can get like a little certificate, and I got that for both Averin and Alice, so my two kids. And so I have a certificate, and their names are on the rover, which I did that back when, before Alice was even born. She was but in utero, and then my son, who was a little guy. But it was really, really cool because having done all that so long ago, and then my son was able to watch that rover get launched earlier this year. So,
cool.
Like, he's very, very proud of the fact that his name will be on Mars soon. But that has, like...
You did it, Averin.
Yeah.
Proud of you, too.
I also am very proud of him. I'm a little jealous that I didn't do it for myself. But, no, he really enjoys watching rockets launch, and he had all kinds of questions when he watched the one blow up today. Not in a bad way, because he knew that it was just a test.
Right.
Like, he knew it was a test. And
so
he's like, how are they going to put all that back together now, Dad? That was a huge explosion.
I'm not sure that they're going to put that one back together.
Yeah, probably start from scratch. But it'll probably be a thing that as the Mars 2020 rover approaches landing, I will talk more about, because I really, really enjoy space stuff. But that was, I don't know, maybe just a fun intro into talking about that. On the
so
podcast.
honestly, I feel like trying to understand what's going on with SpaceX and everything and Mars is there's kind of a lot to it, right? So I have definitely left it as a kind of blind spot. I should learn more, or you can enlighten me whenever you feel up for it on a different segment or as it gets closer. But on a just a stupid anecdote. The town I lived in Massachusetts, Framingham, was the town where. Do you remember the NASA shuttle that exploded in like the 80s or 70s?
Challenger.
I should really know.
Challenger or Columbia?
Challenger, yes, I believe it was Challenger. Well, I don't know if you remember that was supposed to have like the first civilian in space, and it was a school teacher from that small town. And the school I went to, the middle school I went to, was named after her, Krista McAuliffe. And I met one of her family members. She spoke at the school. Like, I say met, she met like a ton of the students, kind of things. But yeah, it's just a small world. And anecdotally, while we're talking about freaking space explosions, it's probably not a fun the fun story about space shuttle explosions.
So what that reminded me of was back when I was in grade school, we had an astronaut come to our school, which, being a small school in the middle of Kansas, in the middle of good old flyover country, was a pretty big deal. I certainly hadn't experienced anything like that. And
Definitely.
as you know from this podcast, Nick, I was an extremely good student that was
Incredible.
very good at getting good
Well,
grades.
hold
And
on. That's what I was gonna say. Is you got good grades. I'm not sure that like your stories have really led me to believe that you.
yeah, but one of the benefits of that was so I was on whatever list of good grade getting students were able to eat lunch with an astronaut when he came. And so Columbia was 2003. So I got to eat lunch with David Brown, which I have a signed picture of him. Like, it was just so cool to have him show us like what it was like to get into spacesuit and all the other things about, I don't know, things that were interesting to grade school me. And I was fairly young. I don't know, maybe fourth, fifth grade, third, fourth grade, somewhere around there. The fact that he had such a profound impact on me, because like I can 100% say that I have such a fascination about space and space travel because of how cool I thought that moment was. Like, that has had a
Yeah,
lifelong impact on me, and I think is super cool. Obviously, it's a tragedy what has happened for the people that have died doing that sort of thing,
for
but
sure.
I do think that they do inspire a generation of kids, and I think you see that sort of stuff. I don't know, it's
I know it's anecdotal, but how many times have you seen somebody with a NASA shirt in your life?
right.
Or a NASA
I
hoodie
know.
or something.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's crazy.
it's aspirational.
It
Like
is.
without like I mean, it's interesting how aspirational it can be for like a huge portion of the country, right? Like it's and it's relatively universal. Like I definitely know what you mean. And you can affect this. People can have that kind of inspiration and almost like throwaway moments for them or small moments for them in ways that they may not even realize. Like your personal story, it's something from a long time ago, and it's a single day or a single moment, and that just it's interesting, right? I mean, it's you know what I'm saying,
To
yeah.
put it to like to more recent terms on how it impacts me, there is a 100% chance, like 100% chance, that when the Mars 2020 rover lands in February, I will be watching when it lands successfully, knock on wood. There's 100% chance that I will cry.
Oh, for
Like,
sure, for sure.
I just, it's such a group effort to do something that is so, like, the fact that we're able to do that sort of thing is just so freaking cool. And
It's a testament to science and humanity, right?
yeah,
Like, I mean, of the progress that we can make. And I know that not all progress is always. We've talked a ton about social media's effect for us, but like, you know, it's a huge testament to what we as humans can accomplish. That we can go into freaking space. It is not meant to be lived in. It's not
right.
meant for humans, and there we are on the moon,
It's
right?
the
So
it's the collective progress thing that is just so cool. Like, it's so much self-sacrifice for the greater good, and obviously lots of stories about how much these people do sacrifice, because it really is a lot. Like, to be successful in this field, it's a commitment for sure, but it really is amazing what we're able to do, and I'm super excited on this front. Like, this is one of the coolest things that I have in my lifetime to look forward to, is just how what kind of crazy things we're going to figure out and do on the space front. Like, it's so
right,
fun. It's just genuine. Like, I mean, I'm sure people have opinions that are negative about it, but for me, like, it's like, this is just the coolest freaking thing
right.
ever. It was just, I feel like a kid every single time I watch a rocket launch. It's just so
and
cool.
and there's just something really interesting to me about the fact that like we had this long period of space exploration and study of space and whatever else kind of stepping backwards, right? And now we're kind of, or not stepping backwards so much as being put on pause, and now we're at this phase in history where there's a lot more progress being
Right.
made. It's interesting because I think when I was like a young, like becoming an adult, I obviously didn't think about it often or anything, but it's probably like in the back of your mind, you don't think that there's ever gonna, like, you don't think like, oh, we're not going to Mars, we're not going to whatever, the circa 2010. But even in the last 10 years, it's become so much more like, oh, okay, we're gonna make this kind of progress. And
It's so dang cool. And I I just added to our segment list space stuff in all caps because
Space stuff.
I don't know. I feel
Space
like
stuff.
with a little bit more of a plan of what we're gonna do, I genuinely think this is such a cool thing. There's nothing that will make me happier than talking about random space things, especially with us leading into the next couple months as the what is it? Now I feel embarrassed that I didn't know it right off the top of my head. It's called the something Perseverance. Yeah, like which is like the best name ever for what we're going through right now. Yeah,
It is.
the Perseverance rover, and I'm so stinking excited for that to happen. And honestly, the other thing is the new satellite. What is it? James Webb? Or is that the one that's getting replaced? James Webb.
Don't know.
Satellite launch, October 2021. So that'll be the next one because like it is
interesting.
going to be a huge deal for how far and how clearly we can see things. Telescopes are super cool, like the history of telescopes. So maybe we can talk about that sometime.
We should do more research on it because I actually feel bad that we're having this conversation, and I feel like I am woefully unprepared for it, which isn't like a problem for this because we're both mostly talking about like the feeling of it. But if we're gonna talk telescope history, I would love to do more research on that and talk about it sometime. Okay, Jeff, tell me about. We have a recurring segment here in this.
And what would that be, Nick? What would that segment be?
It's called This Week I Hurt Myself, and I get really excited for it because I've heard a lot of stories of you hurting yourself over the years, and thankfully none of them have been serious enough to be a problem, so they could all just be funny for me.
Oh, man. So this week I was putting up Christmas lights. I hadn't finished yet, and I got it mostly done, putting Christmas lights up on the house.
Good for you.
Yep. However, a thing happened last year. I was trying to reach for something to get the light on a little higher up before I moved my ladder, and it slipped out of the little holder thing that I had it on, the little clip.
Oh, man.
And it took the entire strand down, which if you've spent an hour doing something in the cold of November and you have that erased in seconds, it is probably... it's pretty far up there on the most infuriating things I can think of. So that happened last year, and so I learned from my folly from last year, and this year I hung up most of the strands without actually connecting the different strands to one another, so that if that were to happen, I would only lose whatever I had done. But Nick, it was going so easily, and
oh no,
I got confident.
You got cocky.
I
got cocky, kid.
I got cocky. Like, you know what? I went to Menards and I bought myself a new ladder. It's a big ladder. I got to a point where so basically how my house works is at the very beginning I have a really high peak, and at the very end I have a very high peak. So I had done the very high peak at the start. I'd done all the middle stuff in between, and I was doing the top of the next peak. And I had connected a couple of the strands just to make sure that the lights were working. It was all good. I guess to set the scene, when you have kids, they want to come out and help all the time, especially my son. So he wanted to come out and help. How he helps is by finding random cardboard boxes and filling them with water, despite the fact that it's like 12 degrees outside, and dipping whatever random toys he can, and saying that they're trying to be a boat, and like I don't even.
Hey, he's helping.
Yeah, he's helping. So we're doing all that, and I've been a little bit passive aggressive about the fact that I didn't want to be helping my wife watch the kids while I was putting up the Christmas lights.
Wow. All right.
So, a little bit intro into our dynamic there. So
wow.
I had to watch the kids because she was probably working or something. I don't know. But probably something valid.
That was really good. So, I don't know. So dumb, like working.
Anyways, so I had gotten to the last hard part, and all I needed to do was get down and move my ladder a little bit, get to the peak, put these things up, get my ladder down. It's all easy from there. And I get up to the part where I need to just now at this point put the last few bulbs in the Christmas light little holder things. I get in my defense, I got distracted by my son yelling.
That's a great way to start.
In my defense, I got distracted by my son yelling. In opposition, it was not yelled toward me nor anything about anything that was going on. He's just a 4-year-old that likes to yell.
Oh
but
my God.
I stopped and I nudged the lights and they ripped off all the thing. Like, I need to send you a picture of like maybe to give this very
Please.
vocal medium. But basically, I had these individual lights that were strung up on top of our rooftop, and I ripped off a good half of them. And I didn't like, unlike the time where I hurt myself, but with the trash can and hitting my heel and saying some choice words, I didn't say anything. I was very good. But again, I was a little bitter about having to watch the kid while my wife was doing, foolish things like working. And so when she came out, because she heard, so my son Avon, he ran out and was screaming that the lights are falling down and that something had happened.
Oh my God. I didn't react strongly enough to the fact that the lights were falling down, by the way.
Hey, you know what? Okay, here's the deal. I'm being honest on this podcast. My wife doesn't know any of these things. She thinks that it's his fault.
Until a week and a half from now, would you listen?
So I told Siri that to call my wife, and I called my wife and I said, you need to get out here and get your son, because these lights are, I have to redo all these and I need your help to hold the ladder at the top part because it's unstable.
God.
I don't know. This is like the worst part of myself. Like, I'm sorry, Dad, if you're listening. I know my mom listens, but I'm sorry, Dad, if you're listening. But I think this is from you, where if you do something dumb and stupid and hurt yourself, you immediately find anybody else to blame if you can possibly blame them. And so I 100% said that it was because
this is one flaw I don't have.
Because Avery was trying to. I blamed it that he was trying to mess with the lights. Which he was running around the lights and doing his own thing, but he was totally innocent. And then
wow, Jeff.
And this is more of a confessional, I would say, toward my wife. That
you didn't know how else to tell her.
Yeah,
like, I dug myself in.
I fought him pretty hard, and I made her feel pretty bad for making me deal with my son. But it was just me being an idiot and tying these dumb
lights together. Deal with your son, he says. Man, you're digging yourself deeper and deeper here, my friend. Oh my God.
You know what? If that was going to be a deal breaker, though, we would have had this deal broken a long time ago.
I don't know if that's a good justification for it.
It's not. It's not.
Oh my God. That's really good, Jeff. That's really good.
Yeah. So, Nick, you have put a topic in our show notes here about memory, and I'm super interested.
So I don't want to go too deep into the technical side of it. I read a lot of articles about this, and I am not a psychologist or a neurosurgeon or neuroscientist or anything like that. So I don't want to go into the frontal cortex of memory or anything like that.
I would hate to have to fact check you as a person with a psychology degree.
I know. I'd be outmatched. I know. But it kind of got interesting for me. So a couple of weeks ago on a podcast, and I know this because it came out and I finally listened to it, that we talked about how songs can bring you back. But I think that the subject was kind of tangentially related to video games, and then I kind of steered it further into video games. I think that, anecdotally, so I just wanted to check with your anecdotal experiences with it and then kind of confirm some little stuff and then tell you a little fun thing about it. So everybody has this, right? That everyone knows that a song can bring you back to a different time, especially when you're younger and you remember where you were when you or you have a memory associated with a song, and everyone knows it. Like, oh, doesn't that song bring you back? Or, oh, isn't it crazy how songs can bring you back? But I never really understood why, so I did some Googling on it. It was kind of interesting. Do you have any songs that, in particular, that bring you back to anything? Bring you back to any specific time?
I could certainly name many. The one that I would name that was probably the most unique to my own upbringing is a song that will bring me back to a time. So we would always go to Colorado. We probably did it for 10 straight years from the time that I was, 10-ish, maybe a little bit younger. Maybe let's call it 8. until I was
Sure.
like 19 or 20. We would always drive out to Colorado and go camping and stuff for a week or two. The song that I can remember, literally, I remember the seat that I was sitting in the truck when we would listen to it. So that song is Tennessee Birdwalk. Have you ever listened to Tennessee Birdwalk, Nick? I would
I
literally
don't think I have.
I would be amazed if you had.
I have not, but that name is a great name. That's got like a freaking a vibe to the name.
I would guess
have not.
it's probably. I'm gonna guess it's the 1950s. I'm gonna Google it. Hold on. You want to take the over under on that?
I'll take the over. 50s. You might be surprised at how different music is from before the 60s. I say that you probably know that already as well, but like music's very different before the 50s. Before the 60s.
So my first Google is 2005, which I can assure you
might be a little off. Might be a little off.
You took the over?
I did.
I think it's
more recent, I should say.
I think it's 1970.
Okay.
According to the Googler.
That's still an oldie though.
I'm surprised it's so like I thought it would have been a little older than that. Yeah, no, it's 1970. I'll be darned. Okay. Which, in all fairness, is 50 years old now. So
yeah.
So you have a song for you that does the same thing?
I have a bunch. I actually have a little mini list here. A bunch of country songs from like the mid 2000s take me back to being on my boat as a kid, or my dad's boat as a kid. All the Small Things reminds me of being in my sister's car.
All the small things, true care, truth brings. I'll take one lift. You're right, best trip.
Country song, but like Garth Brooks and Tim McGraw and all that.
All right.
My parents listening to country songs while we're on the boat.
Pause.
Go ahead. Yep.
What? Man, you're younger than me. Did you have a first CD?
Yes.
What was your first CD?
I'm an edgelord. Even as a child, I was an edgelord. It was Linkin Park's Meteora.
Oh dang, that's so much better than mine.
No, it's not. Linkin Park hasn't aged as well as we felt.
They definitely have some good stuff. They
have good stuff. And yeah, go ahead.
You want to guess what genre mine was?
No, tell me.
Country. You want to guess the artist?
Oh no, Garth Brooks?
Nope.
Nope. Tell me.
John Michael Montgomery.
I'm sold on a lady in the second row. She's an 8, she's a 9, she's a 10, I know. She's got ruby red lips, blonde hair, blue eyes, and I'm about to bid my heart goodbye.
Okay, interesting. This is good. Okay, so another one that does it for me is a song that like wouldn't really be my my go-to song, but I bet you probably could place it, like you probably remember it too. Is Boston by Augustana. I had to look up who the artist was, the band. Do you know this song?
Boston Augustana.
It's Think I'll Go to Boston. I'm not gonna sing, but you know what I mean. That one where he says, "Think I'll go to Boston. Think I'll start a new life."
She said, I think I'll go to Boston. I think I'll start a new life. I think I'll start it over. No one knows my name. Get out of California.
Okay.
Yes.
So
I know the song.
let me dive into the actual meat of the subject then. So the reason I say this, right, is that song is not like a very Nick or Jeff song, but like you remember it, right? And your country songs from John Michael Montgomery. and no, I'm right there with you. Like I'm serious. Like if you showed me a Garth Brooks song, I probably still know the words even if I haven't heard it in 10 years because like freaking it was on my boat all the damn time.
Yeah.
So. What I learned is that there's two different kinds of memories. There's implicit memory and explicit memory. Explicit memory is the very like concrete stuff. It's who you went to that thing with last week. It's the name of so and so or the whatever. Right? It's very explicit content and it's very concrete. So implicit memory is where most of our memory is that we associate with music, and implicit memory is more abstract and emotional, but it's also much longer lasting and more durable. It's connected to, and it is that way because it's connected to many more parts of the brain. And the reason I bring up like what kind of song you had, and I was like waiting for you to have like these, like all of our examples, not all of them, but like, you know, because I don't think that they're especially like embarrassing or anything, but they're not what you'd probably normally associate with like your musical taste.
Right.
Because a lot of these are pop songs because it's not a specific moment. We're very likely to have our evoked memories from pop songs because they're background and they're usually more attached to the era than our personal taste in music, which we will carry through different parts of our lives. So, you know, if you grow up and you find this band that you love, even if you find out that you love them as an adolescent, you might keep listening to them, and it kind of dilutes the fact that like it has this specific memory, this specific connotation to it. So like for me, that Boston song is funny enough is when we lived in Massachusetts, and it came out and my mom loved it as like a kind of she kind of took the vibe of it, but like did it backwards because she wanted to move back to California. She missed all her family, and the song is about moving from California to Boston, and it's just the exact emotion of that time. But it's not a specific conversation with my mom. It's just the feeling that she had when she was like, we should get back to California. And, you know, all the small things for me is definitely being in the back of my sister's car, because my sister and my cousin used to drive us everywhere, whether it was driving to see family that lived hours and hours away, or if it was just driving to go get Baskin Robbins when I'm like 10 and she was bored and wanted to get out of the house. But I can hear that song and like place them singing it and screaming it in the front seat, and me and my little sister or me alone or whatever, just in the back seat going along with it. And I've got other examples in here. I've got one where me and Jen were driving across country, and when we were driving across country, we didn't get nearly enough CDs. So we listened to the same 3 radio stations, and I heard Kill Your Heroes by AWOL Nation about 400 times. So there's a bunch, but it's interesting to me that it's very pop oriented. And it's interesting. The other thing about that is that it's also much, much more likely. They said that it's like, there's an article that said some number, but I won't butcher the article by misquoting it, about how it's much, much more likely for these memories to be formed in our adolescence and teen years and in our 20s, when emotions are kind of still fresher. Like we haven't had those same set of experiences and had the same set of emotions yet. And for me, that definitely checks out. Like I don't think that I have, even of songs that I found in recent years that I love, don't have that same like connotation of like, oh, that reminds me of last year at Christmas or something like that. Nothing like that in the last couple of years. It kind of takes me back a couple of years to before I can get to any great examples.
So
is it the same for you?
Oh gosh. So okay, I have 3. So while you've been doing this,
I know I've been rambling. I know.
I have 3 songs,
go for it.
which are by no means the best examples necessarily, but are the first 3 things that I thought of. So
totally.
I
should say I'm pretty sure that we all actually have like hundreds of these examples. Like
yes,
if you,
I 100% agree.
Yeah,
because like it took me like 4 milliseconds to think of a few.
Right. But go ahead.
So the first one is Thunderstruck by AC/DC. And the reason why
there's a vibe.
The reason why, Nick, is because that was the song that got played when we would run out during our home games for football, because we were the Thunderbirds. And Nick,
I like it.
Like I cannot listen to that song without having like. It sounds silly to say because I haven't been in high school for a good decade and a half now, but like I still get chills and adrenaline pumping through my veins the second that song starts.
That's so good.
And like I want to listen to it right now, but we're doing a podcast, so I can't listen to it. So I'll do that afterwards. So that has so much meaning to me. That particular song can trigger such an emotional response to my body without me even
That's such a good
about
example, because it's very era specific, right? Like it's not one game that you came out, and it's not that the song came out at this specific time. It was just like you heard it a lot. It kind of ingrained itself as like this vibe for you forever.
Yeah, because I literally when I hear that song, here's what I picture in my mind. I am my senior year of every home game that we had everybody like we had all the cheerleaders, all the parents, and then we'd run through the breakaway sign thing, and like that begin like it's not even the actual song itself, it's just the guitar part at the beginning.
Totally.
But oh my gosh, it's so cool, and like hearing my name be butchered on the loudspeaker.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to Mr. Laughlin. Actually, Mr. Laughlin, you are the best. You did so freaking good at pronouncing my name.
Oh man,
it took a minute, but we got there. But no, that was so stinking cool. So the second one, I remember, Nick, and I would imagine you remember too, because I'm sure I talked to you about it, when Wichita State went to the Final Four.
Yep.
And we had a bunch of people over at my parents' house, and I'd gone over there.
For listeners, Wichita State is Jeff's alma mater.
Yes, sorry, yeah. From Kansas kid from Wichita.
You're fine.
I got my psychology degree aforementioned from Wichita State. And when I went there was when our basketball program exploded. And we hadn't done anything necessarily remarkable before I started. And then we had a few good years, and then we made it to the tournament, and we were a huge underdog, and we made it to the Final Four as a 9 seed or 8 seed, I think. And this, like, it's so crazy because like I knew players that were on that team that were in classes at Wichita State at the same time I was. Like it was a very cool thing.
That's crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
When we had people over, I remember being so nervous. And right before tip-off, when they were doing the introductions, they played Can't Hold Us by Macklemore.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, again, not even the freaking song itself.
That's not your song.
That intro, when they were playing they were playing highlights from the tournament to that point, which that tournament for us was absolutely buck wild. Like, the fact that we had made it to the Final Four was absolutely nuts. And to watch those highlights while we had so many people over. I have my stepfather-in-law in Atlanta, and we're all here watching this together. Oh my, like I could not even watch the beginning of that game because I was so emotional. But that song, I've never, oh man, that was so cool. Until we had the point where we watched the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, Have I Had, which they didn't really have a song that I could associate to that, so that would have been my next one, but somebody missed out on that opportunity.
Oh man. So I'll give one more because it's so there's a song by my favorite band growing up, Rise Against, called Savior, and that song came out when I was 16, and it came out, and me and all my friends listened to it. We listened to the album together when we got it, and it is just this whole summer for me of being 16 and going to concerts and people having cars for the first time and going around downtown at night and skating and hanging out in my friend's room and listen to them play music and stuff, and trying to learn how to skate and playing a lot of basketball, but mostly just the vibe of like that whole summer. I can feel being that 16 again, and the two most important friends of my life at the time, Jordan and Sam. Shout outs to Jordan and Sam. Were like, that's just, if I hear that song, I'm 16 again, and it have that feel of being with those two. So I've gone on this topic for a long time, so let me go backwards a little bit and say that is super interesting to me, this implicit versus explicit memory thing too, because so one of the things that I was reading about with it, and this is why I didn't want to butcher it with trying to go technical in an area where I don't know the actual technicalities, and I read a couple of articles that I tell myself that I understand, but I probably don't understand well enough. But I was reading about somebody an author named Christian Van Kampen, and I'm probably butchering that name, who studies this and studies how memory is impacted by music. And he's talking about, and a quote here from him is, smell differs in that it is a personal memory. I know, cutting out of the quote, that most of us have probably heard that smell is very strongly associated with memory, and that makes perfect sense to me. But But he says a smell differs in that it is a personal memory, whereas there is something very social in our experience of music. Music memories are often shared with peers. And I think that's really, really true. And
Man, that is super true. That's so cool.
yeah, right. Like your example of the football games of both watching the Wichita State and playing in high school are both very social.
Oh,
right?
it's
Like I'm sure
extremely social. It's almost like exclusively social. Like it's not me. It's like us as a group. That's crazy.
Exactly. But
so cool.
Something that's cool about it is that it can be used in music can be used in a therapeutic way. So people who have suffered traumatic brain injuries will often have problems with memory, and music can help bring back some of those memories. So there's a program. I didn't dive too much into this. I actually kind of ran out of time, so I apologize if I butcher anything. But there's a program called Music and Memory that's helping Alzheimer's patients to kind of more connect and communicate and stay as sharp as they can by providing them with music from times that they strongly associate with from their adolescence and early adulthood. It's which is like simple, right? It's like literally just providing music to to nursing facilities, but it was like almost inspiring and like heartbreaking to see like videos, because I watched a couple of videos of some Alzheimer's patients who were otherwise struggling to connect to people and struggling to communicate and didn't want to communicate, and then you put the headphones on and you just have them listen to something simple. It's a simple pop song that they probably wouldn't even have told their kids like, oh, I love this song, or anything. Like, they don't probably associate it as something. There was one example in particular of an older man listening to I'll Be Home for Christmas, and he just starts belting out, and a moment ago he wasn't like responsive, and then they showed him a couple weeks later and he's like a little bit more responsive and just talking a little bit more, and it was absolutely like heart-wrenchingly heart-wrenching, really.
Yeah.
So that author and researcher Van Kampen said that it can also be used to help with to those suffering from dementia can trigger vivid memories by listening to music they heard when they were young. He highlights its use for those with depression, and it can assist people to recall difficult parts of their lives that were not necessarily as bad as they had thought. He talked about how it can kind of give a more nuanced view of hard times for people who do struggle from depression or PTSD. And then he said, and I'll leave this part at least here with, he said, it's the article I read said, Kampen is optimistic about the future work. Quote, people worry a lot today about forgetting the problems of memory, but the beauty is today we are beginning to help with remembering. And I thought that's so cool, because it's such a universal experience that everyone tells you like, oh, I heard this song, I remember this song from when I was a kid, I love this song, it takes me back to being in high school and football or whatever it is. And it's such a universal experience that it's cool to see that it can also be not just a thing that we can all share anecdotally, but also a thing that is like genuinely helpful to people who are struggling.
That's super cool. Like, oh man, it's crazy how something that like obviously evokes emotion apparently very easily, that can also be such a therapeutic thing too. Like, right. It makes sense, because if it's something that is so deeply rooted in us, that would be a perfect catalyst for helping with that sort of thing. But it's super interesting to hear that in practice.
Absolutely. And I figured that, this is going to be more of a thing of us sharing anecdotes. And, we're not, you and I aren't researchers on this. And I could tell you that I read somewhere that, it's because music is more strongly associated with like the frontal cortex and yada, yada. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm taking away from that. But it's so cool, man. It's just, it's kind of inspiring to see how such a common and very like implicit part of our lives, not to overuse the word, is it can be used in a really positive way. It's really cool.
So, Nick, have you looked at how Arlo and Ricey have done?
Nope. I wanted to let you do yeah.
All right.
So,
well, prior to this day, Arlo did absolutely fantastic. Honestly, even considering today as well. So I bought in at around 5 $5.50 or something like that. And they're currently trading at $7.79. So
damn,
you freaking did good. That's like what, 20% or something like that? I don't even know.
that's more than 20%.
30%.
That's actually closer to 40. Yeah,
30,
30 or 40. Yeah.
Yeah. And the math is a little easier on Ricey. So here's what I learned, Nick. I originally had planned to do this on an app that was not real money. However, Ricey, turns out, is not traded on one of the major stock exchanges. So I ended up just buying $10 worth of Ricey so I could keep track of how it was going.
You just ended up getting both, really. But go ahead.
Yeah, I won't typically do that. But they are right now, as this moment that I'm looking at my phone, which is turned off, so this is a complete lie. This was looking at it earlier today. They ended up at 181, which $1.81, which is what I bought it for to the penny. So I got exactly $0.
So I did good. I done good.
Yes, you beat.
What am I doing with my life? I need to be a financial advisor.
Yes, you do. So speaking of needing a financial advisor, what I would like to do this time, which, you know what, Nick? I'll be honest. Last time I did a little bit of research. This time I forgot that I needed to do a little bit of research. So I need you to weigh in on research that I've done previously. Two different things. Have you heard of Alibaba, I assume?
Uh-huh.
You know they exist.
I do.
Which I won't get into, but we'll just call foreign Amazon. And then Hyliion, which we will call foreign Tesla. And with all the things that have gone on here lately, again, not super interesting to actually talk about the details, with the potential that we would have issues internationally, both of them have tanked quite hard, both of which I hold stock in. So, which of the two of them, and I've given you no time to actually do any research, and I've honestly done none of the research myself either. Do you feel like a foreign Amazon or a foreign Tesla is more likely to recover?
I don't know. I'd like to say the foreign Amazon, but do you have any input on that? Do you have any thoughts on that? Or
absolutely not.
Okay, good.
I will give you a third choice, maybe, if it makes you. So
give me a third choice. I may not change it, but give me your third choice.
Well, nope. Okay. So here's the third choice. There's a mutual fund or ETF, or I don't even know what the right words are. I'm so bad at. Again, jeez, as I said before, if you were
embarrassing,
if this was your source for financial advice, I would
don't go to Jeff. Just listen to me.
You were right. Nick has his own podcast, which is textnick@nick.com. There is a ETF or that is basically clean energy, which I think is long term a good thing, but they have also struggled really bad. So, do you feel like a international car company, international Amazon, or international spread across all the things, including our own country, is the right bet? And I will say, Nick, Hyliion and Alibaba, for me, have lost me a lot of money here lately. They are way down. So I think now is the time to buy back in to recoup a little bit of that, because I don't think long term they're bad. But you're the boss here. You have control of my $20.
I think I do have control of your $20, and it's let me tell you, it is a rush. So I may regret this, but so like Alibaba is a big name. Alibaba is a name that a lot of people know. I'm sure internationally. And I would like to think, I would tell myself that would be the kind of thing that could bounce back, especially bounce back by like cutting back on scale or whatever in a way that may not affect the car market. I don't know about energy. That's I don't know. I'm like kind of grasping for straws here and kind of speculating, or not kind of. I'm completely speculating. So like that intuition is just an intuition, not at all a um, rooted in not like actual learning, empirical data, anything like that. So I'm going to say Alibaba, but I got to tell you, I feel less good about it than I did about Arlo. And my thoughts on Arlo were very anecdotal.
So I will say, here's the deal. With Arlo, you picked a stock that performed basically better than all other stocks.
You're welcome.
In its
Yeah, well,
price
I
range.
crushed it.
So, you know what, Nick? I'm going to blindly accept this as blindly as I accepted Arlo, and I fully expect a 30% return this week.
Wait, hold on.
Right now, they've lost me 0.86%, so you got a little bit of making up to do.
Uh-oh.
And in aftermarket, they're down 11 basis points. So, we'll see though. I mean, you were prophetic the last time, so we'll see how it goes.
Please, Alibaba, don't do me wrong.
Yeah.
If I go wrong here, I'm just gonna go with you didn't give me enough options, and it's not me. You gave me terrible options. I'm gonna go with that. But yeah,
I mean,
I'd say wrong. I feel good about Alibaba, especially like long term. I know that we're checking back in on this week by week and everything, but like especially long term.
Yeah, it has been. I mean, I'll tell you, Nick, your pick of Arlo has been super fun to watch because that thing took off literally the next day. I don't know how you have these sort of connections, but
you're making me feel bad. I feel like I should have invested my own money.
Yeah, like I don't even know what I'm doing here. Like, why are we doing this dumb podcast? I should have invested my entire net worth in Arlo, which is down 5% today, so it could have been a little better.
Jeff.
Actually,
you're ruining it. You're letting everybody know. Damn it.
All right. Well, so Nick, this week I have spent a little bit of time getting some of our socials up to speed. So now if you Google us, you have even more options. You can go to YouTube if that's your weird thing. I don't know why you're watching podcasts on YouTube, but that is now a thing that we have. All the places that podcasts can be found. You can go to TYWSAP, TYWSAP, and also if you go to our website, tywsap.com, tywsap.com, it will lead you to nowhere because I haven't had time to actually do that part yet. But we'll get there, Nick.
Fair.
We'll get there.
Fair.
But anywhere that you can find podcasts, you can find that. And if you can share that with a friend, I've had a fun time sharing it with a couple people, and I've had and like I said earlier, we have a listener from Germany now, that's
awesome.
Which is very weird. I'm not.
Hey,
not
my
sure
wife speaks a little German. She spoke more when she was younger, but my wife's German.
Okay, well, I'll get them in touch. I think I can click on.
I do appreciate that.
I will send her the IP
What if they're
address.
listening and they don't speak English and they're just waiting for a translator and they need Jen?
All right, well, we should stop now, Nick, because before we're like, oh, ha, 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 really, really funny. We're really past recording time, but we have 2 episodes worth of recording here almost at this point.
It's good. Good job, us.
Yeah. So Nick, thank you for potting with me.
Thank you. You're welcome. This has been the year we started the podcast. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, and next time is our Christmas episode, so I don't know, wear it with a Santa hat on and some good Christmas socks. I don't know what to say.